First, it was a comic series. Then it was a multi-award winning film. And then it was an award-winning video game. But that wasn't to last too long. 4 years after its initial digital-only release, it was delisted on the PS3 and Xbox 360 online stores, likely due to licensing issues. Of course, I'm talking about Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, a side-scrolling beat-em-up that was released to critical acclaim. For many years, fans have been screaming at Ubisoft to re-release the game, and thankfully, to celebrate its 10th anniversary, Scott Pilgrim was re-released, complete with its DLC, for various newer platforms. And then, Limited Run Games got in on the action, offering special editions with many special little goodies for those with the money and the patience. Well, I say patience because from the day I ordered my copy and the day it arrived, it had taken 14 months. But it finally arrived, and I'm going to check this bad boy out. So hello fellow gamers, and it's finally time to unbox the complete edition of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Alright, so what we have here is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World for the Switch. Specifically the KO edition, which comes in this massive collector's case. Limited Run have surrounded this whole case with a cardboard sleeve with graphics and logos of the game and such, but mostly it's very black and it's very plain. On the back are the usual details you'll find for a Switch game, as well as outlining the contents of the box as well. But the whole thing is in plastic wrap. And we know what we have to do with that. When we take the sleeve off, we reveal the Roadie collector's case. But I can't help but notice this big sticker telling us to remove the battery insulator, complete with a little plastic tab. Something is clearly battery operated in here. Wink. Anyway, the Roadie case itself, it's a durable clasp case with a handle and metal all around the edges. It's kind of reminiscent of what you might find road crew or roadies using to store cabling and equipment when they and the band go from gig to gig. There's a main large Sex Bob-omb graphic on the front that looks like it's been spray painted on, and there are some copyright details on the back, but other than that, it appears quite standard. That's not criticism, in fact that's rather apt. I mean, I should know. I used to be in a band, you know. So let's get this sticker peeled off and the battery insulator removed so we can enjoy this to its fullest. Alright, let's open the case and take a gander. Well, after a little repositioning, opening the case reveals a 2.5D diorama showing the in-series band Sex Bob-omb playing on stage. You might be able to see flashing lights showing at the top there, but it's also playing music composed by Anamanaguchi. I hope I pronounced that right, but you know, you can't really enjoy it like this under my bright room light, can you? Let me dim the lights and show you it in all of its glory. Now, something that I noticed about this diorama was that the positioning of the characters were slightly different compared to the mock-up that Limited Run had first shown us last year. On that, Scott was front and centre, whereas the finished product has Ramona at the front. Makes more sense this way anyway. Underneath the diorama are the instructions for changing the batteries and, you know, safety and what have you. And underneath that is a magnetic panel covering up all of the rest of the goodies we'll find in here. We'll just prop this up here for the time being. So the first goodie we have in here, and it is a good one, is a pair of drumsticks. At first they just look like bog standard drumsticks, but look a little closer. Each one shows a series of animation frames of Scott and Kim rocking out. These are etched all the way along the length of each drumstick. So, you know, you're probably not going to want to use this with your drum kit anytime soon, because, you know, splinters. The next item we'll find in here is the Behind the Pixels guidebook. It's a hardback book containing interviews, concept art, level guides, unlockables, and many more. It should make for a very interesting read. Underneath the guidebook is one of the 2 sticker sheets in this collection. This set includes mostly stickers of Ramona's evil exes, which, you know if you've played the game, you'll need to face off throughout. Now this was a bit of a surprise. There is a card in here advertising Prima Games' guide for the game. Nope, It's not a free code, there's no free code included, it is just an advert. I wonder how much they're paying Limited Run to get these slipped in here. Next up is an enamel pin. Specifically, it's of Scott as featured on the overworld map in the game. When you're browsing the map, you're represented by a little 8-bit version of Scott, and this pin badge, it's a rather cute little recreation of that. Scott Pilgrim fans will instantly recognise this if I were to wear this out in public for sure. Underneath the pin is a set of Evil X's trading cards. Each card features one of Ramona's Evil X's. Now, history has shown that trading cards in general hold their value very well, so I'm not going to open these. And also, why have Limited Run called these trading cards? Everyone who's got the KO edition would have gotten exactly the same card set, so there's nothing really to trade, is there? Tucked in at the bottom here is a set of 3 matching guitar picks. As someone who plays guitar every now and then, I think this is definitely a cool little addition. Though, they're not very thick. Bassists use bigger and thicker picks than this, and isn't Scott a bassist in Sex Bomb? It would have made more sense to include bass picks in here instead. The next item in here is the official soundtrack on a cassette? Now this is pretty sweet to be honest, although I won't have much use for it. Yes, I grew up with cassettes and I still have a working cassette player to use it, but even I've moved on to digital music for the most part. It's still a really cool addition, especially for those like me who have a little bit of a soft spot for the old formats. Okay, now we're actually onto the complete edition itself. It's in a box that isn't quite as big as a big box PC game, but it feels really solid. It's surrounded by a cardboard sleeve showing us graphics of Scott and Ramona, as well as a few details of the game itself on the back. The whole thing is in plastic wrap again, so we know what we need to do here. Sliding off the cardboard sleeve reveals a plastic clamshell case. It's really like nothing else I've ever seen before. It's sort of like the kind of plastic cases that Mega Drive games came in, but much bigger. In fact, in retrospect, it's kind of like those shock boxes you can get for those large Neo Geo carts. The cover shows different artwork than everything else so far, with a group image of more or less all of the protagonists and antagonists on the front, and some light details of the game on the back with retro-style screenshots. Now, something I hadn't realised at the time was that the sleeve for the clamshell case is reversible. The opposing cover is a duplicate of the outer sleeve, which, well, actually I think I prefer. Opening the clamshell case reveals the Switch game itself, front and centre in a regular game case, sporting a similar design to the clamshell case's outer sleeve. We're going to revisit this closer to the end. Ooh, now this next item is the most exciting of them all in this set. Hidden inside this white box is... nothing! It's completely empty! Oh yes! I've always wanted an empty box! This is likely just a spacer just to make everything fit in here snugly. To get to the rest of the extras in here, we need to remove these 2 plastic brackets, which is a weird flex, but okay. And the first item we reach is the official soundtrack again, this time on CD. So if you're in a position where you don't have a cassette player, fear not, you can listen to this instead. The second sticker sheet is in here too, featuring many of the main characters and some of the collectibles and other elements from within the game. So it seems that if you got the regular complete edition, you'd have gotten this sticker sheet, but getting the KO edition gets you the other one too. The final item in here is a large poster of the Toronto overworld map, the one across which Scott travels as he hunts down all of Ramona's evil exes. Normally when you're traversing the overworld you see only a part of the map, but here's the whole pixel art overworld map for all to see. And it's a nicely drawn up map, very reminiscent of the overworld maps you see on something like Super Mario World. There's dots indicating different stages, and little details scattered all around like these hills with the smileys on them. There's even warp pipes. Alright, anyway, back to the game itself. It's time to see what's in here. But we've got this plastic wrap to take care of first. Opening up the Switch case revealed a surprise. It's not the manual, because, well, a manual comes with every Switch game limited run releases anyway, at least in my experience, but no, it's a commemorative concert ticket for a Clash at Demon Head gig, in which Scott's band Sex Bomb are supporting. Now, I don't know enough about the lore of Scott Pilgrim, but I can only imagine it would be a bit awkward for them to be supporting a band in which both Scott and Ramona's exes play in. Now, I'm sure this ticket is littered with Easter eggs that keen fans will have noticed straight away, but one obvious one that I spotted was the date on the ticket stub, 10th of August 2010. This is the date the game was originally released on PS3 in the US, with the Xbox 360 version releasing 2 weeks later. A common sight with Switch games these days are reversible covers, and this physical release of Scott Pilgrim is no exception, although I think I prefer the cover they're already using there. Quickly flicking through the manual reveals a nicely presented set of instructions, outlining many of the aspects of the game. Characters, enemies, controls, leveling up, it's all here. It's excellently put together. Alright, now's the time for the most important part of the unboxing. The bit you've all been waiting for. The taste test. Well, okay, as weird as this is going to sound, what does Scott Pilgrim taste like? Ooh. Oh, that is pretty damn bitter. Ooh. Yep, that is good. That is good. I won't be swallowing this cart anytime soon. Good thing too, because I need to see how this game runs. First, I want to see whether it needs updating after first putting it in my Switch. Thankfully, it looks like the game on the cart is fully up to date, at least at the time I first tried it here anyway. So, how does the game run? Well, I can report the game seems to run very well on the Switch. Now, to drop a bit of a bomb on you, I've never actually played Scott Pilgrim until now. I hadn't picked it up on its initial release, so I missed out on it until now. Which is a shame really, because I do like myself a good side-scrolling beat-em-up. I've long been a fan of games like Final Fight, Golden Axe, and even the Simpsons arcade game, and this is very much in the same vein as those, albeit a bit more frantic and with a levelling up mechanic. This would be a lot of fun to play with friends, for sure. So there's your lot. That was everything included in the KO edition of Scott Pilgrim for Switch. For me, the extras that really stood out were the official soundtracks on CD and cassette, that Behind the Pixels guidebook, and, well of course, that roadie case and its presentation. It was really nicely put together. With this KO edition costing about $85 or 65 quid in my case, more than the classic edition alone, most certainly a chunk of that price bump would have gone towards this case, which has been nicely constructed. But what were your favourite items from this collection? Maybe you think there was something else that should have been included. Let everyone know down below in the comments. I've got a few other limited run orders yet to be shipped out, so if you want to see how those turn out, feel free to subscribe. Well, I'm going to sign off now anyway, so thanks very much for watching. Leave a like if you liked the video, and I'll catch you all next time.